Guys, I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about today. And excuse my face, I just took a shower, so it's gonna be red because of the warm water. Um, because as I've talked about this before, that I want to get married, I want to have kids, and I have no kids, and I'm single. So I'm like, how is this gonna happen? So, I get frustrated about that. I get discouraged. And then I'm like, so I pray to God, like, please, make it happen. um, so, anyways, that's not really what that's about. What this video is about, the marriage thing. It's about more about when things feel impossible, because my entire life I felt like something was impossible, but then it happened. And so you would think that that would make me think that literally, well, not literally, but nothing is impossible, because God can make it happen and He can help you along. So, again, I've talked some about my struggles in life. So, like, 10 years ago and before and after, I was struggling really hard with like agoraphobia and anxiety and depression. And I also, at the same time, really wanted to move back to where I was born, the state that I was born. And that always seemed impossible to me. So I don't have like a script or anything. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head, so I might have pauses. So sorry about that. Yeah, it always seemed impossible to me, because you have to keep in mind that where I wanted to move to was like halfway across the country from where I lived at the time, 10 years ago. And I could barely drive like 5 minutes down the street to the grocery store. So I was thinking, how on earth am I going to travel all that way? So I would always get really discouraged and frustrated over that. And I'd cry about it and all this and that. Then also I get frustrated. My thing is, I overthink. I dwell on things. I've always been that way. I'm sure I'll always be that way. So I would think about the financial part of it. I would think about where I would live, just in case my dad couldn't move with me, or move with me whenever I wanted to live there. So I would think, oh, maybe I can just get into college and live in a dorm or something. But that didn't happen that way. I'll get into that more. And again, it's not really about moving. I don't know why I brought that up, but I mean, it is. It's not really about the college part of it. It's just more about when things seem impossible. Because you would think, at least I did, that if I couldn't drive around where I lived easily, go 5 minutes to the grocery store, how on earth was I going to travel to where I wanted to move to? Which, like I said, is a valid concern. So I would always worry about that. I worry about things. I'm a worrier. It's just how I am. And I went to therapy, multiple different therapists, and psychiatrists. I was on different medications. And honestly, I mean, I didn't always go to therapy regularly, but even when I did, it didn't help me that much. Medication, it kind of did. It didn't cure me or anything. It did kind of help me manage my symptoms, but it still didn't make me able to go anywhere and like leave my house easily. But the point of my video is that even when it seems impossible, it probably isn't. Even if it takes a while, because 10 years ago was 2014. We moved in 2021 to where we live now. So that's what, 7 years? And during those 7 years, I would always dwell about how it's going to happen. Even right up until we actually got here, I was like, how is this going to happen? And what I can only explain as a miracle from God, like maybe a couple weeks before we actually made the drive. So originally we were going to move to Las Vegas, but that didn't work out. So we moved to where we always wanted to move back to, because I think God was like, no, you want to move here, so you're going to move here. Anyways, sorry, my mom's calling. Anyways, so yeah, I was almost cured within like a month before we made the drive, the initial drive. Meaning I felt like I could go anywhere, and there was no apparent reason for that. I wasn't in therapy. None of my medications changed. So like that's why I call it a miracle from God. So sorry that this is all over the place, but this is just from the top of my head. So I know that it's like a cliche for people to say that, if you told me 10 years ago that this is where I'd be, I wouldn't believe you. But that's genuinely how I feel. As from not being able to leave the house to being able to drive halfway across the country and being in college and then actually being able to fly in an airplane to visit from where I grew up, because it's all crazy to me when I actually think about it. And of course I didn't realize it at the time, and like over these years, and I've struggled with all these things longer than 10 years, probably better part of my life. These things being anxiety and depression and all these things. I can see my face is getting redder. Sorry about that. And you have to understand, I was probably on the severe side of my problems, because there was actually this therapy place. So I saw a couple different therapists there, and they eventually told my parents that we can't help her. She's too severe for what we can do. So imagine an entire place full of therapists being like, no one in this building can help her. They didn't, like, it's not like I was too far gone or anything. They're just like, what we're capable of, we're not capable of helping her. She's just too severe. I'm not sure how many people can say that they've been told that before or have it happen to them. But yeah, that was hard to hear. But I'm gonna get emotional. But this is another cliche, but if I could go back to myself at that time and tell myself anything, it would just be like, relax. Everything's gonna work out. And then I'm sure myself 10 years from now will probably feel the same way about myself now, if that makes sense. Like, relax about it. You're gonna get married, you're gonna have kids, it's gonna work out like it always does. So the point of this video is just, things work out, especially when you have God. And like I've said before, I didn't know that He was helping me through all of that because I was barely a Christian, so I would sometimes pray to Him for help. It was whenever I prayed to God at that time, it was usually, how could this happen to me? Why are you letting this happen? It was more anger than wanting help, and I regret that, but He helped me anyway when I was barely even a Christian when I barely knew him. But anyways. So I hope that this video made sense. It's just like, even when things seem impossible, there's always a way. Even if it doesn't happen immediately. Like, I didn't just move here. I lived here for 3 years, so it's not like technically 10 years later. But I mean, like I said, I've been dealing with this for a while. So, yeah. But again, if you told me that I'd be living where I've always wanted to live and I'm enrolled in college, you know, that, and I've dealt with so many setbacks in my life that I thought that I was like legitimately cursed. Like one thing after another, it just seemed like nothing went right. Because I thought, because like I mentioned before that my plan, if my dad for some reason couldn't move with me, I would just get accepted into a college and live in a dorm. Well, that didn't happen because my GPA in high school was too low to be accepted into like a 4-year college. So I could only be accepted into a community college and then get my GPA up and then go to a 4-year college, which honestly, you know what, even that worked out because it's cheaper that way, you know, than just going to a 4-year college initially. That's what I recommend. Get your prereqs done in community college and then transfer to a 4-year college. That's gonna save you money. So even that worked out better than what I wanted. God knows what he's doing. He really does. So yeah. So I hope that this made sense. And it's just take away from this video that God knows what he's doing, even if it seems like it's a setback, even if it seems like nothing's working out, even if it seems like it's impossible. He knows what he's doing. He has a plan for all of us, and he'll get it done. Because, I mean, this video will be hours long if I went through every single setback that I ever experienced, and every single disappointment that I ever experienced. But, you know, I mean, usually things work out. Because like I said, if I could go back to my younger self, I'd be like, just relax. It works out. And I'm sure myself in the future, like, you know, 10 years from now, whenever I'm 34, I'll probably be like to myself now, it works out. Just shut up. You're fine. It'll work out. Anyways, so this video is long enough. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.